Hello, everyone. Welcome to Arcana Homesteading, and we're your hosts, Sherry
and Shauna.
And today we are chatting about kids and homesteading.
Yeah.
Because we got them. We know a lot about it.
And I feel like this question gets asked a ton on the different homesteading sites that we're on and stuff like that. There are like so many different people ask the same question. And so we thought we'd mention again. We have done another episode, but we thght we would mention it again because it does get asked quite often. Basically, not just like right now. It's a lot of like in the garden, and my toddler keeps pulling out all my plants.
Yeah.
But it's not just that aspect, but it's also the aspect of as your kids get older and they're not as interested in what you're interested in, and trying to either keep them interested or kind of, the whole fighting aspect of like, you guys need to be responsible for this or blah, blah, blah. So like there's a lot of different aspects depending on the age of your kids, I guess.
Yeah. And me personally, one thing, and so my oldest is 20 and my youngest is 5.5 months. So, and there's 4 in between that. So one thing I've never done, ever, and this is just my parenting philosophy in general, is I don't ever force my kids to do anything. So now don't think that they're not just like being lazy slobs though. If they want animals, which they have all at some point in their lives for many years at a time, they've wanted animals. My boys at one point loved being in 4-H. My oldest was in pack goats. Lorenzo showed pygmy goats. They wanted those animals, genuinely wanted them. And if they want those animals, they must take care of those animals. And that's basically, it's very, very easy, right? So the other thing though, that I feel like I've given my kids this like pretty like intense example of loving animals. We always have animals in the house, whether they're permanent fixtures, whether that's just temporary, but we constantly have animals in our house. And I'm always taking things in. We rescued 4 little baby fucking wild birds last year sometime, and it didn't end well. They all did really well, but then they got something and all passed away. Anyways, my point is that like I show my kids an example of this is how much I love animals, and they just follow suit, I guess is what I'm saying.
So this is actually very important. Like you kind of like brought it up, but like, and what I tell people is that it's not, you're not trying to like, I'm going to give you an analogy or whatever the fuck metaphor.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. So if you're kids, okay, and you're every day and you're being like, get the fuck outside, go fucking feed this, clean this pen out, chop this wood, and you're creating these experience for them, right? Of where they're like hate, resent. And then they're going to get older and they're going to be like, moving to the city. It's going to be great. And you're like, I didn't raise you like that. Yes, you did.
Well, yes, you did, because there was a lot of, and that hits on just our parenting technique in general, though. I don't ever tell my kids, this must be done right now. That's something that I just, like, don't get me wrong. Things get done, and we do, sometimes conversations get heated about, especially with my girls, they're very, 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 very headstrong and stubborn.
They're like you.
They're exactly like me. They're mini-me's.
Versions of you.
But I do always, like, okay, hey, this is what we need to get done today. We're doing this. I like over communicate with my kids too, which isn't a bad thing, but
can be.
I definitely do. So this is what we have our plans today. And this is what obviously we need to get done today. So my 15-year-old now is extremely, self-starter, super self-sufficient. She doesn't need me anymore at all. And she hasn't actually for a couple of years now to tell her what to do. She knows what chores she does, and she just goes out and she gets them done because she genuinely enjoys her rabbits. She genuinely enjoys the goats. She doesn't she likes the chickens, but they're really not on her top priority. So if she doesn't feed anything, it's going to be the chickens. She's nope, didn't feed them.
So once you find like your kid's thing that they really do like, let them do that.
You should definitely be encouraging it and helping them do.
And if they don't like doing something else, then you'd be like, okay, I'll pick up that task.
Yes. And see, and that's what I do.
That's what I do.
Data comes in and says, oh, I know I didn't feed the chickens. And instead of being like, oh my God, why didn't you feed them? I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to feed them as I go out to milk or whatever the fuck it is. Because again, I'm not like my children's boss. Again, that goes back to our parenting philosophy though. Like I've never viewed
Yeah, I don't
myself as
feel
my
like I
children's
have a
boss
parenting philosophy.
or yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes. It's basically that.
It's that's
Yeah.
what it is.
So
Put those in words.
yeah. So I feel like if you give a good example of loving the homesteading life, you love being in your garden, you love taking care of the animals, and you genuinely love it, and you set a good example of that for your children, they're going to follow suit. Now, if you're angry in the garden, if you're angry feeding the animals, if you are smacking the animals and it's always super crazy and whatever, your kids are going to hate it. It's stressful. And that stress carries over to them, obviously. And so those are just something to think about, I suppose. You know, you gotta be happy.
Be fucking happy,
And
okay?
the other thing is, if that shit's bringing you that much stress, you definitely probably shouldn't be doing it just in general.
That's probably
Just
a
like,
good point.
if it doesn't bring you happiness.
I mean, you have your days though. Like,
No.
Like, you know,
I
my
have my
kids
days.
are like, "Do you think you're on your period?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know because I don't have a fucking uterus, but like probably."
I definitely have my days, and especially with like when I'm milking the goats. I absolutely love milking, but I have a couple goats that are such fucking bitches, and like they will. I can't stop.
Stop.
And
You're like, I'm getting
they
mad.
will
even
cut
thinking
my
about-
hand, like kicking, and they'll cut
my
my hand open. I'm
gosh,
just like,
naughty.
I fucking hate you right now. That's her name. Naughty
Naughty.
is her name.
Why don't you tie your foot up?
I do.
I do. I
Yeah,
did.
it works
Done.
so well. It works
Yeah.
so well. And my stanchion it's like a grate on
Yeah.
the floor, very very tiny holes.
Yeah,
and
so
so
you
I
can
just
tie it to that.
I just tie her foot down with fucking hay twine.
Yeah.
and she kicks it.
Yeah,
She tries to
can't do
lift
anything,
it.
you little bitch,
She
huh?
can't do anything. I win. I'm smarter. I have thumbs.
So I have been, you know how I am, and I get in these moods of like,
Loving it than hating it.
no. I love all of it. I like, especially like in the springtime, everything's green. I feel like
my
I'm
God,
fucking
the
Heidi.
spring- I
Like in
know,
the
I
hills,
totally
you know?
feel like
It's
I'm
the
Tinkerbell or
hills have
something.
made you well, you know? Like you're just like, you like skip around your place. You're like, the hills are alive. Like that's what I feel like on a daily
The
basis.
hills have made you well.
So the
You know what's weirder about that is
What?
like that scene in that movie, The Hills Have Made You Well. It's like, well, no shit, they made her
Heidi?
well. Yes, like it's fresh air. She just needed to be outside.
Sunlight.
Sunshine, people does the body good.
I enjoy doing like little projects, you know?
Yeah,
Okay, but I like we just did, and it might seem like just whatever, like something dumb to somebody else, but like I can be so proud of myself for like the smallest thing. So Potato, our bunny is called Potato. He has been living like under River's. She has like a loft bed, and so he has the whole like underneath part. But in the summer, her room gets fucking hot, and she doesn't have like an AC in there. And like if you know bunnies, like her guinea pigs live in there and they're fine, but like the bunnies is just like he's gonna die. And so
Yeah.
I was like, we need to move him out into the living room where he'll get like the direct airflow from the AC, you know. And so I was like trying to, you know, problem solve that. And so I decided to clean out. We have like a closet under our stairs that's probably meant for like, you know, clothes and shoes, but we just throw shit in there.
it's meant for Harry Potter, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So that exactly, Sherry. Exactly. So I cleaned out all the shit because I was like, this literally has just been sitting here.
Yeah.
It's serving nobody. So I
Yeah.
got rid of that, and I took off the panels and then put chicken wire up. So it's like the frame of the little closet doors, and
And then
the
he can see out and
chicken
get
panels,
light.
and
Yeah,
it's completely
so
goes all the
cool.
way down, and then he'll get a lot of airflow.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna live under the stairs. So now his name is Harry Potato.
That's fucking adorable.
And
Hairy
anyways,
potato.
but like doing.
and he is a hairy potato.
He is a hairy potato.
It's adorable.
I know. I was like,
It's very,
it was
very
meant
cute.
to fucking be, okay? Like, it's so exciting. Anyways, so just doing that, like, obviously cleaning out the closet's like a hassle, and like, you know, organizing is
It's
not my
work,
strong
yeah.
suit.
Yeah.
But my daughter, so my son is ignoring all of this, Ronan. Zero fucks given, okay?
Yeah.
And I know this is not
It's not his thing.
his thing.
Yeah.
River, she is like an organizer.
She's like, I'm
so
here
she's
for it.
like right there with me.
Yeah.
She's going through shit. She's excited about finding, oh my God, I haven't seen this in you. Because it's like, that's my cleaning style is like,
Yeah.
I pick up shit and I throw it into a closet when people are coming over, you know, and then the closet gets full. So that's that closet.
I feel like that's a lot of people's cleaning style, actually. And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of people just lie about it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to lie about
Because
it.
they'll make jokes about it, you know, and I'm like, see, that is you. It's you. You don't have to
It's
gotta
fine.
hide it.
Yeah,
it's
it's
okay.
fine. Everybody has.
Yeah.
I have multiple of those closets, but this one is now cleaned out, and it's fabulous. And now we can't throw shit in there because the bunny is going to be living
Yeah,
in
that's
it.
like his.
But
his
even
area.
like just putting like taking off the panels, you know, and than putting the chicken wire on and doing the staple gun and stuff like that. You know, we were like, River like helped me through the whole thing, and it was like her thing. And I was like, we were so proud of ourselves. We're still like looking at our closet today. It was just like putting chicken wire on doors.
We fucking did that. We fucking did that.
I was like, we fucking killed this. Like, but I just get so much joy out of those like little projects.
Yeah, little.
And then like, you know, and then you get into it, and it spurred me to be like, I'm going to be even more productive today. And then that's when I made like, I was like, I made you sunscreen. I also made you bug spray. You know, it was in that whole line of
you're in a zone.
I was in a zone. I was in a zone. And so I know that has nothing, it kind of got off topic, but River really enjoys all those. I can see a lot of her in me.
Yes.
Okay, so Ronan, he loves milking. He loves the ones where he can like it's almost more zen for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
like Ronan needs to find like a girl who's like a big homesteader.
Yeah.
And then he can just be like, "You're doing a great job, honey.
Yeah.
I'm gonna milk once in a while. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Emotionally, physically, whatever you need.
I mean, and anytime I'm like, and
I'm gonna go make the money while you stay home."
He's also great about like, if I'm like, hey, can you help me? He will absolutely be like, yes.
Yeah.
He will never tell me no. He's never like arguing with me like, I don't want to help you with that.
Right.
Like he never puts up any kind of fight. He's always like, yes. And even sometimes where I won't ask him because I won't think he'll be interested, and then he'll be like, why didn't you ask me to help you with that? And I'm like, I don't know, because I didn't think you'd want to do it. And then he's like, well, now I'm sad. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'll try to communicate more with you. But I'm trying to like, you know, you don't want to always be all like, hey, and take advantage just because, you know, you're nice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want you, because that's what I was like, I don't want you to just always say yes because like I'm your mom.
Right.
Like you can tell me no sometimes. Like, no thanks, I'm good.
Yeah.
Polite pass. But like, you know, because he loves like
busy. Yeah.
He doesn't enjoy gardening as much as I do, but he enjoys planting seeds and then seeing what comes of it.
Right.
So when he
really does enjoy gardening. He just doesn't want to be out there pulling weeds and shit.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which, I mean,
yeah. Well, no one does.
Nobody does like that part.
Yeah.
My husband's been so helpful in the fucking garden.
It's weird and strange.
He's been so helpful. He hates it, but he knows that I like it.
Yeah.
So it's very sweet.
It is very, very sweet.
So he's been like, he got my other bed all built and like he picked up dirt and like everything. He like did. Nice. He went in there and like did the little push mower around all the in between thingies.
Nice.
In between the beds, and it looks all like magical again.
Sweet.
Like I like just. So in my garden though, so everywhere else I feel like, you know, Sound of Music or Heidi in the Hills skipping, but in my garden I feel like, you know, because I have a little table, I'm like British. I should have like a tea.
Oh, so it changes.
Obviously.
You know?
So like I was very like in my garden, I'm very like, oh, like I'm proper.
In the garden.
I should have one of those dresses.
Yeah. Proper. Yeah, that is. Yeah, I feel like, again, like both you and I really enjoy, like, I could never imagine not living on property. And I've definitely given that to all of my kids.
Oh, I know. I totally have given it to my children.
Like even, so there was a time when we still had the pygmy goats and like all of them. And it was Lorenzo and Aiden. And they were getting very slowly, they were getting over it. They didn't want the goats anymore.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. And then I slowly transferred the goats over to Dea, essentially. I said the girls, but it was Dea.
Yeah.
And
Kelly's like, nah.
Kelly's like, no, they're mine, but I don't want to do anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, so when that time was happening, and instead of being like, no, you take care of these animals, I was just like, okay, you don't want them, I'm going to sell them, or your sister can keep them, that's perfectly fine. And, and that's exactly what we did. We did sell some off because, Dea didn't need that many fucking goats because Lorenzo had a whole fucking herd. Like, he had, like, bucks and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was showing, and he was like,
showing. Exactly.
I no longer am interested in this.
He's just not interested. And you know what? That's okay. Because he was interested in it for several years. And just because you're interested in something right now doesn't mean it's going to pique your interests several years from now. Especially a child.
I know,
and that's what you always have to remember is they're going to be changing so much, so drastically. Your 8-year-old is nothing like they're going to be when they're fucking even 15. And the 15-year-old, very different when they're 20. I mean, I promise. And so it's like, you can't expect them to be like, yes, I'm a 20-year-old, totally still into the same thing I was doing when I was fucking 5. Like, no, it's going to be very, very different. And so you shouldn't hold them to like, well, you said you wanted to do this. No, fucking sell the animals, give it to another sibling if they want it, move on,
Agreed.
Yeah.
As far as toddlers go, we're kind of, so Sherry's baby is, how old is your little monster now?
She's 5.5 months.
Yeah. She's a psycho gremlin at this point.
She's a terrible little monster right now. She can roll and she does.
And you think like you're just rolling. No, but she's like, I'm rolling to find something that I can collapse on top of myself.
Over your light fixture that you're using for your podcast. It's like that kind of stuff. And she goes very quickly. She gets into things already.
Keep her contained.
She has toys and then she's like, no, I want this other thing that I shouldn't have. And so anyways.
It's overly stimulated.
So what I do, just the other day, what we were doing, I take out her picnic blanket. I put it on a flat surface. On the grass, and then I let her.
It'd be funny if you put it on the hill.
No, we're not. Curly actually said that. She's like, "Why don't we put it on the hill?" Like she already knows the answer. I'm like, "Yes, honey," because I'm going to let her roll down the hill right into the fucking pond. And so and then I just, I was helping Dea and Juan. They were building an extension. It was funny. We both did bunny things this weekend.
That is funny
because my husband and Dea has a bunny barn, we call it, for her 3 female rabbits, and It's a nice size shed.
Yeah.
She has it separated because the one hates the other 2, so whatever. And but Dea was like, I don't want to bring them in this summer. Like I don't want to. So we need to figure an area that they can be like outside.
Yeah.
And so he put 2 little doors on both the sides, and then they made a huge enclosure. It looks so great, and she decorates like her bunny shed like it's like a room. Like they have like art. They have wall art. Bunny and they have shelves, and they have their little jars of their homemade treats that she makes them. She spoils the death out of these rabbits, right? And now they have this luxurious outside area. My husband's like, because Dea.
Safe from all the hawks.
Safe from the hawks. It's great. And it's under a tree, so it's super shaded like all the time. Mm-hmm. And my husband, though, is so funny. Like you were talking about your husband being like, he knows that you like the garden stuff, and so he's like, this is what I'm gonna do. So my husband is the same way with Dea, right? Like he's like, because she wakes up, she's like, Dad, I really need the bunnies. They need to have an outside area so we don't have to bring them in this summer. And he's like, okay, well, go get ready and we can go to Home Depot. And then they spent the whole weekend doing it, and he builds it and he does it.
I would have totally tagged along and been like, I'm going to Home Depot with you. Going to the plant section.
No, I didn't go to Home Depot. They went
amazing.
and did their own thing. Nothing really sounds amazing with a 5-month-old.
Yeah.
They're very, very
suck the fun out of life.
They really do, right? I want to get down and roll around Home Depot. No, you can't.
Just let her, because we all watch my baby's rolling right there.
Yeah, excuse me, look out, she's rolling. And they're like, what? Yes, you heard me, rolling. This is what she wants to do.
You can put her in the light section. She's gonna roll back and forth with all the lights. She would love it. Talk about distracting. We actually, when our kids were little and they were fussy, we'd stop by Home Depot and go through the light section, and because all the fans and the lights, and the kids are all like, oh, this is amazing. Like that age, they're so entertained by it.
Yeah.
And then you just are sitting in Home Depot and you're like, all right.
No, she's an
awful. Pull up a chair.
I'm going to be here for a while. Something get me Starbucks. No, she's an awful little monster and she wants to be down all the time. But yeah, so I put her on her. I have a big, huge picnic blanket, put her on that. And I was helping Juan and Dea as much as I could. And then Lorenzo comes out and all of a sudden there's a million teenagers here. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I'll come and help with this.
It's like people I don't even know half of them. And Lorenzo, I'm like, hon, who's here? He's like, oh, it's it's Lockwood and Daniel and Blotty and blah blah, Tegan, blah 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 blah. No, I don't know any of those. Daniel, I know Daniel. He's the only person I know, and it was so funny. And so they had a huge. But you know what's so nice now with Lorenzo and because Lorenzo's 18, most of his friends are 18 or even older. So instead of being like, Mom, can I have friends over? And then me being like, sure. And then I have to organize it. I have to go buy food. He says, Mom, my friends are coming over. We're gonna barbecue hamburgers. They're bringing everything, including the propane.
Aww.
Well, that's fucking marvelous. Like, what the fuck?
Thank you.
They literally bring all the food. They brought drinks. They brought a propane tank.
That's awesome.
Hooked it up. Made their shit. They cooked it all themselves.
Yeah, well, as they should. They are adults.
It was just, it's so funny, the difference. It's so great.
It kind of makes you sad, though. Be like, should I make snacks?
It does.
I'm still going to make some muffins.
I was this close to asking him if I could make snacks. I was this close.
See, well, you have a baby, so it's probably different. But when my kids are that age,
I didn't have a baby,
they're totally going to take advantage of it because yes. And they totally can because I'm absolutely going to be even if they're like, oh no, our friends are bringing, and be like, I'm still gonna make cookies. So
I'm gonna make snacks. I'm gonna bring something up.
Something's happening.
But I was very close. If I didn't have Hero, I probably honestly just would have done it and then brought it up. But like,
why is it so satisfying to like feed your children?
And their friends. You don't even know them. You don't have to know them.
You don't have
Still
to.
satisfying.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
As much as like there'll be days where I'll be like busy, and then the kids will be like, "Hey, Mom, I'm hungry." We're like, God, if I didn't have to like feed you guys all the time, I could get a lot more done. You know?
Yeah, you have those days. Right? You're like, can you just survive off air just for today,
or like
maybe tomorrow as well?
You're fucking 12. Go grab a fucking Go-Gurt, man. You got this. There's apples.
There's fruit. Okay, some kids don't have fruit. You should eat it.
Go eat it.
Aiden's been getting on because Legend's like, we'll sit there on his video games. He's like, Mom, I'm hungry. He's only 7, right?
Yeah.
But like Aiden, he's like, okay, Legend. He's like, pause your video game, and if you can't pause it, you need to finish it. Finish your game, and then you need to get off your headset and you can make your own food. And Legend's just like staring, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, Aiden,
Sherry's 20-year-old telling his 7-year-old brother, even though when he was 7, he was definitely not required to get off his games to go make his food.
Honey, he's 7, and you were not making food at 7.
It's good skills to learn.
It is. But I definitely
for his age, he can absolutely make a peanut butter and jelly.
He can, but I don't want my older kids pushing him to be older than he needs to be.
Absolutely.
Because I see it often with him, and they can't help themselves. I understand. They have this new perspective of I'm 20 and I'm 18 and I'm 15. Well, he's not at all. And when you guys were 7, I was still pretty much doting on you guys.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
It's okay.
And you guys turned out swell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just let me dote on him a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
There's a season for everything.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
He will be making his own food.
Like, no, he should start now. Fucking get a job too while you're at it. Little fucker.
You're just like, Jesus Christ, lay off. So fucking funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, as far as, I know Sherry has a little gremlin, but toddlers, when they're even more monstrous, right? And they're very destructive. Toddlers,
very destructive.
They enjoy destroying things. They're like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
They are, and
where they set up something
very good analogy.
just to knock it down.
Like he completely set up the town of San Francisco and then knocked it down,
and then destroyed it.
But you have to remember just the psychological aspect of toddlers. Like they're not really meaning to be destructive.
Some of them are.
At all. No, they're not.
They're just little fuckers.
They want to see the cause and effect, and they're that's all it is. I remember I had to completely stop gardening when Corelli was a toddler. It was awful, and I tried. I would bring her into the garden because I couldn't. There's no one else at the time. My boys are pretty young, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take her into the garden with me. She would just go over to plants and just rip. And she would rip so many out in under 30 seconds, and it was always very, very, very distressing because like I just planted those. I've been watering them and babying them for the past couple weeks, and you just murdered them. Sweet. So I finally was like, okay, instead of getting mad at her, okay, you know what? Why don't you just rip out the whole garden? And Mommy's not going to garden this year. You know what I mean? Like that's finally what I can
go at it.
Just you know what? Go ahead.
You
yeah. I'm
enjoy
gonna sit
that.
back with a tea. I'm going to watch you.
Yeah.
And you know what? Fun. We're going to come in here all the time, and you can rip shit out. You know what I mean?
All the weeds. Go for it, you little psycho.
Yeah. Exactly. And so finally, I was like, it's fine. There's a season for everything. Next year, I will garden.
That's exactly. So there are different. What's it called? Of children.
Models.
There's different models of kids.
Different models.
Okay, so there's that model where you just got to give up, and then when they're older,
wave your white flag.
White flag. Yep. Get your iced tea out.
That's right.
Just sit there back, and chill and relax.
Yeah.
So there's that option, absolutely, and you need to know when you have lost and your toddler has won, and that's fine.
Yeah. No, I'm not even joking. Wave your white flag. Have it.
Do it.
Very high on a stick.
There is also the other model that I think it's kind of weird, but they listen to words. So like when you say like no, that's not, this is, but they still need something else. So you can give that model their own garden. This is your garden, so and so. Very,
where you can do whatever you want to in this space.
And so you still put in like get some cheap plants and put them in, because they're still going to want. They don't want just a barren thing of dirt. They might. Some kids love fucking.
Well, just water the dirt. Weeds will grow. Just pull out fucking weeds.
Like, I used to get the little like pansies because they're like fucking cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I would plant those, but my kids would. They weren't that model that you have. they weren't like completely listening, especially toddlers, you know, they don't really give a fuck, but they did to an extent. They, you know, they'd want to water their flowers, you know, and it's theirs,
right?
And
right.
they very much much got a lot out of that. Like they're like, this is my thing.
Yes,
I'm helping this to grow, and then they can still make.
Okay.
They can still make mud puddles and play in the
yes,
mud and
yes,
dig in their
yes.
own part of their garden. So whether you have to get like speaking of bad babies, whether you need to get like a little, you know, some type of large container for them to do that, or you can get one of those like baby pools and fill it with like dirt, you know, poke holes at the bottom of it, and that can be their garden. Or you can do some type of, you know, temporary thing or even a permanent thing to where it's their little area, you know, and they can do what they will with it. So that is a great option for gardening and toddlers. There's not always like easy answers for when the different age of your kids, like Sherry said, like sometimes you just have to give up. And as your kids age and get older, they're constantly changing, like Sherry said. They're constantly, like, you're constantly going to have to pivot and figure out other shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's never going, like, this answer might work for right now for these few months or 2 months or 2 weeks.
Or even 2 weeks.
Or 2 days.
But it's not going to work forever.
But it's not going to work forever.
It won't be the forever answer.
So,
and just like I'm sure you know yourself, even as an adult, you've changed since you were, 18? You've changed since you were even 20, 30, you know what I mean? And you consistently keep changing, and your child is no different, obviously. And they're changing even more drastically. So, yeah, and I would always say to people that have young kids, definitely, I don't know. I would never like that. Stop it. You stop it. She's like pulling my mic.
Speaking of not being able to do things with babies.
I would say just enjoy your fucking kids. I know it's like super cliched. And I'm not saying you can't be overwhelmed. Like vent to your friends and vent to whoever, you know, whoever you need to vent to. But then go back and spend time with your fucking kid. Because like those years pass so quickly. And you can always have your fucking garden. You know what I mean? Like, but that 2-year-old, they're going to be 3 next year. And then 4, and then 5. You know, it's just like.
I was literally just telling Shanley.
Yeah.
So our younger sister, she has a 2-year-old. And speaking of toddlers in the garden, which is in my garden because she lives with me.
Yeah.
But she's really, really good. She gets her watering can. She just wants to make mud puddles and play in the mud. So far.
Yeah.
But there's
so far.
But
yeah,
we
exactly.
haven't.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Whatever. But she, I was telling Shanley, and I was like, so the crazy thing is that especially like a parent that gets overwhelmed with their toddler or whatever, or baby screaming in the background. You're bad. Is that so? So when they're an infant, they're only an infant for that first year. So you get 1 year, year of them being like a baby, right? And then they're a toddler.
And then they're not a baby.
And then they're only a toddler for like 2-3 years, okay, until they're 4, and then they're considered a kid. And then you only get them as a kid until they're 12, and then or even 11, because then they go into that preteen phase. And then they're a preteen, and then in a couple years they're a teenager, and then you don't have them at all. You know, it's just like
you have them, but it's a very, very different relationship. Their world doesn't revolve around you anymore. You're no longer the star or the center of their universe, and it's like your
so
child.
It's such a short time,
just growing up.
Just if you need to drop your garden or stop milking your goats, or
then you should do that,
or whatever, or like you can't make your bed every day, you know. And the earlier what I wanted to say is like it's all about things that are attainable for you, your attainable goals that also like add something to your life, whether it makes you happy or your kids happy or both, hopefully, you know. It's just, that's what it is. So like a lot of times people are watching like on Instagram and stuff like that, and they see these people that are living these lives, and you want that life. And a lot of this is like a homesteading thing too. You see like these certain places, and you're like, oh my God, they have like an old timey stove and everything looks so cozy, and they're making like homemade whatever the fuck, you know, from scratch, and and their kids are sitting there in their little outfits that they sewed, you know. Okay, so those people probably have a shit ton of fucking money.
Even before they started the whole,
you know, and so they just got into this, and they set things up like it's a fucking stage, right? For you, so it looks perfect, and it's supposed to look that way. So people like their things and comment and everything else. So don't sit there and focus too much on that. It's not attainable for you.
Yeah.
Be realistic with yourself. Like, we try to be as real as possible. We don't edit out a lot of shit. We don't we put up pictures of fences with fucking screens and baby gates that we patched holes with. We think it is definitely, homesteading is attainable. Living a very happy, content life is absolutely attainable, but don't make it unrealistic.
Well, don't making it and Instagram is super famous for this, making it look so perfect. No, I'm doing the better job because I have the perfect homestead and the perfect kids and their perfect matching outfits that I fucking sewed myself. Okay, when it comes down to it, it's not realistic even for that person. They're fucking, I don't want to say lying, but you have no idea what behind the scenes looks like. You know what I mean? Did they really sew those outfits? Did someone sew them for them and they just happen to own that company? Do they have a nanny watching their kids while they make all those fucking videos? You bet your butt
we need a nanny. That's what we need.
A nanny. God damn it. Look at you. She's like,
my point is that all these things can seem overwhelming when you have kids at their different stages, and it's just, and it absolutely is sometimes, right? But it's okay to let go of things. It's okay to alter and pivot and do things differently. And don't look at other people's lives and be like, oh, but they can do it all. They're fucking liars.
They're not doing it all. No one is doing it all.
Nobody's doing it all.
So don't ever compare yourself to someone like that, because
you can ask us too. How do you guys do everything? I'm
going to tell you, we don't.
We don't.
I don't do everything.
We don't make our own clothes.
I might have a garden this year, still up in the air. I spend a lot of time with my kids. I homeschool my kids. I take my kids to their activities, and that's essentially what I do.
You make a lot of breads.
I make breads, and I do that kind of stuff. So I do stuff in the kitchen, and in the garden, maybe I do stuff with my animals. I milk goats.
So you do a lot.
I do a lot, but
it's very attainable. You have 6
super
kids.
Attainable.
You can do it.
Exactly. That's attainable. But don't get me wrong. It doesn't have, my kids aren't in perfect matching outfits.
Or in perfect moods,
They're
apparently.
Never in perfect moods. She would like more. Okay. You should have the tea. You should have it.
She loves iced tea.
She does love iced tea.
She
definitely is one of our family members.
You are one of our family members.
You are one of us.
But
you love tea.
You better drink fucking tea.
Tea addiction.
Coffee's trash.
Coffee. that thing Amy sent. And
I know. I was like, no. It's coffee's not superior. Coffee is straight trash.
But yeah, you do you, boo, is the thing.
That's right. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
That's right.
But the whole thing with kids and stuff, it's it will work out and things will happen when they need to happen, and just kind of go with the flow, because otherwise you're just fighting the current and you're hating life and your kids hate it, and that's dumb. So that's not the point.
That's
not the point.
Exactly.
Anywho, thank you guys all so much for stopping by and for listening. Our big shout outs to our Patreon members. If you haven't checked out our Patreon, please do so. You can go to patreon.com/porch talks with an S, or once you're on Patreon, you can look us up. It's just Porch Talk with Our Kind of Homesteading, but it is just us shooting the shit and hanging out, and we want you to feel like you're right there with us, so please go check that out if you can. Our shout out to our top Patreon members over there, Tegan and Lexi and Megan and our mom Tammy. Thank you so much for all of your support. We from the bottom of our hearts, you guys are amazing. And other than that, if you have any topics, or if you want us to talk about anything, or if you want us to talk about something more in depth, please let us know. You can reach us on Instagram, or you can get a hold of us through our email. It's ourkindofhomesteading@gmail.com. And other than that, the baby's quiet right at the end there. She's having her tea.
That's right.
I'm going to go have some too.
Bye, guys.
We'll talk to you later. Goodbye.